Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandom at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.
A couple of baseball pitchers and one of the best sluggers of hardball of all time make the news on this day in history of sports history, and we also remember some of the very famous sports birthdays of this date of June 11th, coming up in just a moment. Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends in sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch. Welcome once again to a short sports break here from JerseyDispatch.com. Sports history is made every day of the year, and we're going to try to preserve it with some of the great famous people from team sports, and some of them we're going to have their jersey numbers involved here. So first of all, we're going to talk about some great things that happened in the state and the numbers of jersey number 3 and 57. June 11, 1904, Chicago Cubs ace Bob Wicker tossed a dandy of a no-hitter against the New York Giants baseball club. The Cubs hung on and won the game after 12 full innings, 1-0. And according to Saber.org, the 26-year-old right-handed Wicker went 20-9 in 1903. And unhappily for Bob, though, he was expendable for the Cubs as they had 8 different 20-game winners in a span of 5 seasons during that era. He was traded to Cincinnati early in 1906 campaign and ended up missing out on 4 National League pennants and 2 World Series crowns that Chicago would go on to win in the upcoming 5-season span. June 11, 1927, future Baseball Hall of Fame slugger number 3, Babe Ruth, hit his 19th and 20th home runs of the MLB season that year. This is the year that Ruth would go on and wallop a record 60 home runs in the season. New York prevailed in this game 6-4 over the Cleveland Indians at Yankee Stadium. June 11, 1938, Cincinnati Reds hurler Johnny Vandermeer, number 57 that year, had a no-hit toss game against the Boston Braves where they won 3-0. Vandermeer is most notable for being the only pitcher in Major League Baseball history to throw 2 consecutive no-hitters. In this gem, the first of the 2 no-hit games in a row, it was at Crosley Field in Cincinnati. Vandermeer walked 3 while striking out 4 and allowing no hits against the Boston Bees, and no Boston player even made it past the first base. We shall recant his second no-no on June 15th edition of the series, and Vandermeer would go on to be a 4-time All-Star and win the 1940 World Series with those same Reds teammates. Now, before we leave the date of June 11th, we want to make sure over on Pigskin Dispatch you know about some of the great Hall of Fame birthdays that we're celebrating on this June 11th. Josh Cody, who was Vanderbilt's two-way tackle from 1914 to 1916, celebrates a birthday. He was born in 1892. In 1902, Ernie Big Dog Nevers, the Stanford University fullback and great Pro Football Hall of Fame player that played in the NFL, early NFL, has a birthday. How about a big name? June 11, 1913, Vince Lombardi, the Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrined NFL coach from the Green Bay Packers, as well as NFL executive and coach later on of the Washington Redskins, celebrates a birthday this date. And June 11, 1924, Doug Kenna, the quarterback from the U.S. Army's West Point Academy from 1942 to 1944 in those pre-World War II years, I guess a little bit in the World War II as well. June 11, 1930, Johnny Bright, a Drake University single-wing halfback from 49 to 51 was born. In June 11, 1956, Joe Montana, Pro Football Hall of Fame retired quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of Notre Dame. And we have a great spotlight article on Pigskin Dispatch featuring the great quarterback on this day. Speaking of on this day, well, the onthisday.com recognizes a couple other great sports figures that have birthdays. 1879, Roger Bresnahan, American Baseball Hall of Fame catcher and outfielder and manager, who was the first to wear shin guards and a batting helmet. He was born in Toledo, Ohio on June 11th. In 1939 in this date, Jackie Stewart, the great Scottish auto racer who won 27 Grand Prix, a bunch of F1 championships, who was born in Milton, Scotland on this date. The excellent NFL punter, Tommy Barnhart, played in the NFL, Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers, and the Buccaneers. He was born in China Grove, North Carolina, this date, 1963. 3 years later, 1966, Scott Mellenby, NHL's great right-winger for the Florida Panthers, was born in Montreal, Quebec on this date. The great defensive back in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, Brock Marion, was born in Wheeling, West Virginia in 1970, and also that same day, 1970, Bill Selby, American baseball infielder of the Red Sox in Boston, was born in Monroeville, Alabama. Now, these are just a bunch of the reasons that we celebrate sports history and some of the great athletes that played the game in team sports. Hope you join us each and every day here for a sports break on the Sports Jersey Dispatch and on sportshistorynetwork.com. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a great sports history day. This penalty kill is almost over. I got to get back out on the ice. But thanks again for joining us for another great edition of Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com, not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel. You get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings your sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique items with the retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row One catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row One Pictorium Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.